Okay, being 7 o'clock, I'd like to call the meeting to order. We'll do a roll call first. Teresa Manganelli,
Here.
Mary Ann Galizo,
Here.
Christy Uriel,
Here.
Brad Jackson,
Here.
Anthony Levine,
Andrew, you're on mute.
okay, Joe Lovino.
Sorry, here, John.
Okay, thanks, Andy.
Sorry about that.
Joe Lovino,
I'm here.
okay, Scott Neville.
Here.
And David Temang.
Here.
And John Doherty also here. Before we get started, this meeting of the Wilmington Finance Committee is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendees of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. Members of the public who would like to participate in the meeting via Zoom can do so by using the link located on tonight's agenda. Members of the public who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may also do so via telephone by dialing 1-646-558-3656 and entering the meeting ID 841-3053-0341 and then enter the following passcode 788875 if asked. Members of the public attending this meeting virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the hearing designated for public comment. By following the steps previously noted, then press *9 on their telephone keypad. Those attending by computer may use the virtual hand function. This will notify the meeting host that the caller wishes to speak. In the event that despite our best efforts, we are not able to provide for real-time access, we will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as we are able. If you have any questions on any of this, please let me know. I'll be behind the curtain, so to speak, tonight if anything you need. John O'Neill. Also, in public comments, we'll be limiting public comments to 3 minutes each. At this point in time, I'd like to get started. And the first up is planning and conservation.
Good evening.
Good evening. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, Valerie.
Good.
You want to get right into your budget?
Sure. Would you like me to pull it up on the screen, or do you want to just follow along with whatever you have in front of you?
I have no problem following along in the book, but
Okay, great. Okay, great. Well, starting out with the with personnel services, we have an increase in that line item, and that provides for step raises for 3 of our staff. We have contractual services, miscellaneous contractual services, dues and subscriptions, advertising and printing, training and conference, and office supplies. All are going to be level funded, is what we're proposing from last year and years before. And then down to furnishings and equipment. After foregoing our typical amount in that item last year, we're requesting to have that $2,000 returned to our budget. We need to replace some of our conservation supplies, and we are desperately trying to manage the files in our office. So we'd like to return that amount to $2,000. So in total, there we have an increase that's under $10,000 from last year. And then I can go over some items that are not included in the budget, some funding that we use for some of our services.
that'd be great.
Sure. So outside of this budget, we do fund the housing services office that we share with Reading, North Reading, Saugus, and Woburn. And that funding is capped for us at $14,500 per year. But we haven't been spending that much. It's an hourly basis, and that funding or those funds come out of the community development fund that we have. We also received a new ARPA earmark for $150,000 for designing a bridge, a pedestrian bridge at Town Park that will cross the Maple Meadow Brook Aqueduct at the canal. So we got that through the feds, and then it came through DCR, and we have that grant funding ready to go for the fiscal year. We are finishing up our facade improvement program with the $300,000 of ARPA funding that the town set aside for that purpose. We awarded in our 2 rounds of funding, we awarded over $200,000 for that purpose. And you'll be seeing a press release on those awards sometime very soon. And then Section 3A, I guess I was going to segue into things we've been working on very diligently at. Section 3A work, we're doing all in-house, but our housing consultant, our housing office is helping us with some of the economic feasibility to try to justify 15% affordable in our district that we're proposing. And I can talk more about that if you'd like me to, but I'll pause to see if you have questions on the budget.
Actually, I don't have any questions on the budget. My question is, where does the state stand on the MBTA housing projects?
Yeah, so we are required to have our zoning in place before the end of the year. So we'll be proposing a zoning district at town meeting in May to meet those requirements. And we did get some bad news just recently that the state isn't going to allow us to have a mixed use requirement on Main Street, which we were proposing. But we've sort of, in talks with the planning board, we sort of pivoted to an incentive for mixed use there instead of a requirement, is I think the best we're going to be able to do there. But we have a zoning district kind of prepared. There's a lot of information on our website on where those sub-districts are going to be located or being proposed to be located. One along Main Street, one includes Metro at 10 Burlington. There's a sub-district that includes Deming Way, which is already multifamily housing. And then we have a sub-district out on West Street where there's a 40B approved, the storage facility, and the Regency Place apartments across the street. So we tried to focus on areas that already have multifamily housing, and a portion of Main Street to fulfill the half mile from the train requirement. And there's a lot of, I could go on probably for hours on this, and you may not want me to do that. So I'll pause on that. But you know, there's a lot of detail to it. We have a lot of information on the website, but I'm happy to answer questions about that.
Anybody have any questions or? Anybody?
I have one question on a different topic. The bridge that you mentioned that will cross Maple Meadowbrook. Do you know when that project's going to potentially start? And are we looking at like multi-year costs associated with that? So
right now we just have the 150,000, which will get us through design and permitting. So, and that's going to take place over the next 2 years. So we don't have construction funding identified at this point. We'll be looking to see if we can find other grants, and certainly be asking Senator Moulton and others about grant funding for construction. But at this point, we only have the design and permitting secured.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Can you tell me exactly where that's located, Valerie?
Yes. So if you're at Town Park and you go down the paved driveway to the softball field, and you keep going around the back of, like, I think it was a ski hill there. There's the sort of the start of where you can start seeing the canal, and it's kind of off to the right. There's a small portion of trail, and you get to the aqueduct, which is just stone abutments on each side, and you can see the canal on the other side. And that leads, the canal path leads to Butters Row. And so there's sort of a gap there. And with this bridge, you would be able to walk from Butters Row all the way to Town Park. So it's sort of, you know, we don't really have a rail trail in town, but it's our sort of version of that, just a little bit different. And this connection would create, I think it's a 1.5 mile walk, which would be really nice.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else have any other questions? Seeing none? Valerie, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And enjoy the rest of your night. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next up is going to be Building Inspector and Board of Appeals, and that's on page 48. Al,
How are we doing?
good, and you?
Not too bad. What would you like to go? We're level funded money wise from last year.
Okay,
All right. You'll notice that our permits are running. The total number of permits are pretty much the same in the 2,000, 2,300 mark every year, you know, give or take 100, 150. So we're right on the same plateau that we've been on since 2018 for issuing permits. I don't see anything other than these massive warehouses being built that have no occupants in them as of yet. So other than that, I mean, they bring in the money for the permits, and the assessment value, but we don't know what's going in them as of yet.
the two warehouses on 62 heading towards North Reading, are those all in Wilmington, or are they?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Anybody have any questions for Al? Seeing none? Al, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
That's good. Next is Board of Health on page 43.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay.
How you doing, Shelley?
I'm good. How is everybody?
Good. You want to start with your budget?
Sure. My budget is level funded again, this year. Pretty straightforward. I didn't know if you guys wanted to talk about my statistical or anything like that, but, it's pretty much the same as last year. I had some interesting figures. I know you guys sometimes are interested in it, but since it's not really budget related, but I will tell you, since February 1st, I'm sorry, I've had 18 cases of COVID and 19 cases of the flu.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we're still, since January 1st, we've been really busy with that.
How are you doing with inoculations?
We are done actually doing both flu and COVID vaccines. So if anyone needs any, I really am just referring them to either CVS or Walmart or Walgreens.
Okay. What was it? 2 years ago, we did shingles?
We did, yep.
Mm.
We did shingles again this year. So
Okay.
we purchased that, so we'll keep doing that.
Okay,
And I can do any other injections that people need. We just kind of wait on a case-by-case basis, depending on what the vaccine is. If we see that there's a need for it, or people are asking for it, we have the money to purchase it.
okay. That sounds good. Yeah. How's, is the nurse, is she doing house visits as well?
Yes, our nurse Jen, she does home visits. Yep, they started back up with home visit this year.
Okay, Okay. Mostly elderly?
She'll really do anything, yeah, but most seniors are the ones that need them. She has her regulars that she goes and sees and gives them their B12s and whatever else they need. But if anyone ever calls and needs something, she's available to go up for a home visit for any reason.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'm just curious, I'm looking at that on page 44. The home visits dropped from 94 to 29 and the phone consults dropped from 474 to 128, which, does that just mean everybody's really healthy, or is there a reason for such big drop-offs in those numbers from 22
think-
to 23?
Yeah, we've seen a big drop off because of COVID and, people just are afraid to have, I feel like, someone coming in their house still. There's still that, apprehension of having the nurse come in and see anyone that really needs care. People are just still nervous.
So why would the phone consults drop then? You don't have to come to the house.
I feel it's the same way, people are getting more telehealth visits with their doctors, things like that. So they're just really not utilizing the public health nurse as much.
Interesting trend.
Yeah, it is. It definitely, it's COVID. We all COVID related. Our trends are so different. Even if you look at like something down the line of like our rabies clinic, it is, our numbers the last 2 years are so low compared to when we really had a large attendance at rabies clinics. Just people are just going out now and they're going to their vets and they're just getting all their care that way, but it's still a drop down.
Shelley, the other thing you noticed is your total fees collected has taken a huge drop
Yeah.
from last year to this year. Why is that?
Let me see. Let me look at that. Well, we had if you look under our animal permits, we had a decrease in our animal permits. That would be for like chickens, horses, goats, things like that. We see a sharp decline. And other fees. Just more, if you kind of look, we have less money in our septic system permits, our tobacco permits. Yeah, just things are just lower than they were in the previous years.
Are we competitive on the fees we charge?
Yeah, we are. Yep,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Compared with other towns, for sure.
Yeah. Anybody have any other questions for Shelley?
I just have one. I'm just
Sure.
curious because I looked at this. The first permits are for beavers. Do people have
Yeah.
beavers?
No, we're the Board of Health is charged with issuing beaver permits for dams and beaver trapping, on private
Oh,
property
okay.
or around town. If you
Okay.
have a beaver issue, we issue a permit.
Okay, thank you. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I know why the total fees collected. You know what? I was just trying to brainstorm. This actually encompasses grants too that we got. And
Oh, okay.
in 2022, we had we were the fiscal agent for our tobacco control program. And in 2023, that shifted over to the town of Burlington. So we took a lot,
Took a big hit.
a lot of money came out of that.
Okay.
We share our tobacco control inspector with Burlington and Lexington. And for the past few years, Wilmington was the fiscal agent, but now Burlington's the fiscal agent.
Okay. Do they rotate it then?
I just feel like Burlington kind of wanted to do it, so I said, okay, it's a big responsibility. I think Brian was probably happy that we got rid of it when Burlington became the fiscal agent.
Oh, okay.
Still the same services, but we're just not in charge of the money part.
Okay, not a problem. No problem. Anyone else have any questions for Shelley? Seeing none, Shelley, thank you.
Thanks.
You enjoy the rest of your night.
You too.
Thank you. Next up is going to be the Historical Commission on page 57. Bonnie?
Hi, good evening. First of all, I'd like to apologize for not being at the last meeting. We had some wires crossed and I apologize for not being there. And I'd like to, at this point, introduce you to Matt Beers. He's our new curator as of last September, and he's on with us as well. Our budget, as you all know, is probably just about level funded. Is level funded. The discrepancy sort of in the payroll was the fact that we did lose our curator at the beginning of last year. Then Terry McDermott stepped in and didn't quite work full-time, but God love her for doing what she did. She came in, kept the museum open, maintained, and also went through the Adele Passmore collection, which was amazing. So, and so for that, I just want to have a big shout out to Terry for doing that. And basically, everything else is level funded. And again, because we were sort of in a flux, we were just trying to keep the museum open and running and continue as normal as we possibly could. We lost one resignation of Paul Shalafor at the beginning of last year, and then we brought on Karen Bloom, who what she brings to the committee is that she is trying to have a resurgence of the fact that Wilmington was known as Hoptown back in the day. So that's her thing that she's bringing to the table, but she's also an incredible asset. Odette Kent is also a new member. She came in at the end of the summer, and we're just so blessed to have a dedicated group of people. And in December, we lost our clerk, Emily Lamb. She had some increased family and work commitments, and we were fortunate to have Anthony Accardi, who you all may know, who works at Town Hall. He stepped in and he's now our role. Now, I'm not sure, did you all get a copy of our annual report? Because I don't want to read this report because it's, quite lengthy, but I did want to, do you see that before?
No.
Do you get a chance?
At least I didn't get it.
Okay, then maybe I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to jump down and highlight different things. So as I said, that our curator resigned last January, and an exhaustive search took place since then over the summer with the help of Susan Inman. And we were fortunate to hire our very qualified Matt Beers. Matt is originally from Connecticut, lives in Maynard. And he has also stepped in an extremely busy time for us for a number of different reasons. The fact that most of you know, we have some structural issues at the museum. So we were forced to move our collection down off the second floor. And so with that, made it a little bit jumbled when Matt came in. So there's kind of no rhyme or reason where we had to put stuff. We just needed to get it down off the second floor. DPW came in and took care of those issues for us, and is also offered us a space at the Wildwood School for things that won't be affected by the fact that the building is not heated, and we won't put anything over there that will be affected by that. So that's a process that we're working on. Matt is also cataloging and trying to, it's difficult, as you may imagine, to come in new, not only to this new position with the condition of our artifacts. He's not a Wilmington boy, guy, whatever. So, but he comes in with a real fresh look at everything and a different concept. And so he's got us an incredible, he's been working on a social media presence for us with using, Facebook, Instagram, and all that. So that's building. That is building. We're also working on, we had over about 500, even with all this flux, we had about 520 people come through last year, which was incredible for us. We're working on hopefully bringing that up to 1,000 in 2024. With programs, with the school department, student volunteers. We've reached out to the rec department to maybe have some programs at the museum. And WCTV wants to do some work with us as well. The Boys and Girl Scouts, Women's Clubs, and we held a Veterans Coffee in November. And it was very well received. I think we had probably about 12 veterans come in. And it was awesome. Matt had done up this amazing display in our exhibit room for them. And it was just a format where they come in, have coffee, have donuts, chat. And we told Lou that this could also be a vehicle that he could maybe explain any new benefits that came out that they may not know about. So we haven't done it since November because we're not ever sure if the place will be plowed. So, and we're kind of like on the last group that gets plowed out. So, I mean, we've had such a easy winter, including today's storm, that we're going to start that back up again. We're going to work with Lou's staff. Let's see. We had some exchange students come through this year from Spain. That was interesting and kind of fun to introduce ourselves to them. We also had our 50th anniversary of the acquisition of the property by the town in 1973. So that was attended by about 200 people, and we had a barbecue free to anybody that came. We had Jeff Hull come and speak. We had Senator Feingold come and speak. And it was an amazing day. It was the perfect day. Minutemen were there. It was very well attended. And unfortunately, we didn't meet Matt until afterwards. It would have been a perfect opportunity for him to have been there. So I think we have a member, Joe Jackson, who does amazing research on different topics. I don't know when the man sleeps. He has 3 sons and a full-time job, and he's married, and I don't think he sleeps at all. He will get an idea in his head, like, why don't I do a report on the agriculture of Wilmington back in the 1800s or something. So, and he has given presentations at the library. We also did, we finished up our archaeological dig on Perry's Corner, which is at the corner of Woburn Street and Lowell Street. When the bulldozers finally started coming in, we really didn't feel safe on that property anymore. So, but the artifacts that we found on that property are amazing. We have them at the museum. They were on display for a while. And Matt changed that up when the veterans came through. So, but we still have all those artifacts. Actually, they were down in the basement. They can't be hurt. They came out of the ground. So it's like, they can't be. So if anybody wants to see those artifacts, please come over and visit us. There's also, I know the bids went out on the roofs. They combined the roofs into one bid, and we got 3 bids. 2 of them were way over bid. The 3rd one came in too late, so they couldn't open it by law, I guess. So the plan is, from speaking with Dennis, they're thinking of separating the 2 into 2 different bids. And then I believe the bid for the windows has gone out. There've been some contractors that have come to look at the building and take measurements and whatever to sort of come up with a bid. I think the bidding process ends the end of this month. I may be wrong, but I think that's so they're working on it. But the DPW, the public buildings guys come in all the time and are checking. They've put a sort of like a stopgap system up in the attic to divert the water out. So it's not coming down into the ceiling. So that seems to be working fairly well, but that's still in the process. So Dennis is, and then, like I said, Matt is dealing with that as well. And we're so grateful to the town of Wilmington and you guys for pushing for us to get the money to do that work. I can't tell you how appreciative we are of you guys. I think so. So with all of our plans going forward, and Matt also does a Sunday open house once a month. He does open houses on Monday and Tuesdays, and Wednesdays is the only day he has to work at the museum. And he also attends meetings like this, and he attends our once a month historical commission meeting. So as you can imagine, that a 19-hour a week work schedule is extremely trying for him. So I just want to put it out there that there is a possibility that we may be requesting some more hours for Matt coming down the pike with the plans we have for the museum going forward, to have more folks come in. I'm just kind of putting it out there. And I think that's, and Matt, if you want to add anything to this?
Yeah, you pretty much said everything that I would have said. We're working currently on getting a grant from Mass Historic on potentially putting that towards the roof. We're working on new exhibitions, new gallery spaces, and really trying to professionalize the entire museum, not just in the collections, but also in the community outreach, and doing more things, not just on a physical space, but also on a digital space as well. So we have big plans moving forward.
Sounds good. Anybody have any questions for either Bonnie or Matt?
I do. Bonnie, so are you saying there's an active leak right now in the roof?
There is. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They put some kind of a tray system up there with a hose that is diverting the water out to the gutters. So yeah, but it's still leaking. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Is it multiple spots or is it located in
No,
one
it
area?
just seems to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, it just seems to be coming in around the chimney.
Yeah,
and
it's mostly
traveling down.
exactly. Yeah, it's mostly around there, and I haven't had any issues in the museum itself, but in the carriage house, I've noticed a lot more holes popping up everything in there. So that's also a concern as well in the carriage house.
There's more buckets being put around.
Right.
The grant that you applied for, what is that exactly? What kind of grant is that?
It's a preservation grant, and they give that specifically to for building preservations specifically.
So it would need to go to the building itself?
No, to the organization so that we can use it towards a preservation project.
And
For the building.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
because it's a matching grant,
is.
we're able to apply for it because the town has committed to the town is going to put forward that money that was appropriated at town meeting. So we could, and I don't know if we actually knew that we could do that until we had a gentleman came in, he's called the roving archivist, and we were talking about it to him. He said, you do know you can use that money as matching grant to go for this grant. So Matt's been, it's new to Matt, it's new to me. So it's a little bit of a learning curve for us, but we're getting some great support from Megan at town hall. And I guess there's a couple of more pieces that Matt has to put together from different folks. We've met with Dennis. We then have to probably meet with Lou and have it come before the selectmen so they know that we're going for this, and then get their approval and then send it in. We have until March 15th. So it's been a little bit cumbersome, mostly for Matt, and but he's like a trooper with this. So we're trying to get extra money because the bids were very high. Very high.
So it's a matching grant, so you have to spend money to get the grant, is that?
It has to be available it has to be available. You don't have to spend it to get it. Like, am I making sense? It has to be there. It has
Yeah,
to-
you can only apply for the grant because the town committed funds. If the town hadn't committed
Right,
funds, couldn't
right.
match the money we already gave at town meeting.
That's correct.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah. Teresa,
Yes. Hi, first of all, welcome to Matt. See you here. So Bonnie, my question is the antique truck. And I've been following through your minutes. And it comes up with every meeting. And it seems like the answer is the same every meeting. And
okay.
very, very concerned about this.
Okay.
There's a liability in so many different directions
Mhm.
towards having that truck on our property.
Mhm.
Somebody comes in and gets hurt by it or on it or in it,
Mhm.
we're liable.
So on that,
Oh,
I have had an opportunity just this past week to finally get through to Stu Nielsen. I was sending out emails, every few weeks saying, okay, guys, what's going on? Because I have the paperwork to sign it over to us. And at some point there was like hesitation again. So I wasn't really sure what that was. Part of the hesitation was that they just didn't want the town to sell it at any point. But it's right in our collections policy that if Matt or mostly the curator, Matt, decides that an item is not conducive with the rest of our collection, the donor would have right of first refusal on it. So that would, that covers their problem. But when I talked to Stu just at the beginning of this week, I finally got a hold of him. He said he lost the paperwork. Okay, so I will send you out the paperwork again, Stu, and I just did that. I think it was on Wednesday. He said he was going to be seeing his brother in a couple of weeks, and he said, I'm just going to have him, I'm going to get him to sign it. It's like, okay. So I told him I will call him, he said couple of weeks. So I'm going to call him at the end of next week and see how that went. And they are, in fact, they are going to donate. And I did put it to him that, we're going to be having some work done on the roof. God forbid the carriage house collapses. I don't think that's going to happen, but there's always this thing, and it's in there. And I said, I need to protect the town. I need to protect us. I need to protect you. I need to protect the truck. So we need to do something sooner than later. So it sounds like they're ready to sign that over.
well, actually, it doesn't sound like they are to me.
Oh, no.
With all due respect, I mean, this
No,
has
it
been
was,
going on.
Laz lives in
spring.
Maine. Laz lives in Maine. So it's difficult. They don't get together. I know.
Well, I know, but there's email. There's people
Laz is old
communicate all
school.
over the world. My
Yeah,
point
no.
is that whatever the reasoning is behind their reluctance or their inability to get this settled, every day that goes by, the town is on, it's on for that truck.
Mhm.
If somebody gets hurt, we could get sued. We don't even own the truck. It's not insured under our name. We can't insure it because we don't own it.
Who
They
owns
they don't have insurance on it either.
Well,
John?
I don't, that's their business,
Yeah.
but
But
it's on our
but
property and we're taking possession of it because it's on our property.
They're for months now, there has been no opening of, just to assure you that there's nobody around that truck. We don't open the carriage house and have not opened the carriage house for months.
Yes,
So
I actually, if I may,
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
have it roped up out. I have the entire building locked up. I actually don't let people see the truck just yet until we get that squared away. So it is secure and it's up on jacks as well. So it's not on the actual tires. So it is in a secure location.
Chris?
So there's nobody.
To
going
Teresa's
in
point, if
and-
something happens to that building, we're liable. I've been hearing about this for the 2 years that I've been on this committee. God knows how long it's been going on. Who owns the decision to say, get it on a flatbed truck and tow it out of there and bring it to their house and leave it in their driveway? Or are we just gonna let it sit here and just deal with the liability? Because this is at least the fourth or fifth time I've heard this conversation. So do we keep it, or do we get rid of it, and who owns that decision? Because I'd love to have the truck in the collection, but if we're gonna be liable and there's a problem, I'm just tired of talking about it, quite honestly.
No, I agree. I agree. I really truly feel we're gonna be owning this truck within the next 3 weeks. I really,
Okay, so you'll let us know in 3 weeks.
absolutely, I will,
Okay,
absolutely.
Bonnie, can you let my office know, as soon as you're here?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And also, if I could just back up a little bit on the roofs. They're going to split the bids this time because obviously a lot of contractors do asphalt roof, which is on the carriage house. So we're thinking we're gonna get many more bids that way just for that. And then the specialty roof on the museum itself will be different. And I did speak with Dennis and he explained that most of the leak is coming from the base of the chimney, where the chimney and the roof butt. So he's gonna try and maybe put some new flashing in there and we're gonna work on getting that portion repaired. Because the roof is only 10 years old and it's a 20-year roof, so
Right.
we're going to see if we can at least get the chimney squared up for you.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. And they're coming into the museum all the time and checking on things to making sure that, the heating is still going and they've been very, very helpful. Yeah.
Perfect.
And very responsive to us, lately. Yeah.
Anybody have any other questions for Bonnie? Seeing none? Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest
Good
of
luck,
your night.
Matt. Nice meeting you.
Take care, Matt.
Yeah.
Next on the agenda is other business. Do we have any other business to come before us? Seeing none. Minutes are for approval, January 30th, 2024. I'll entertain a motion. So make a motion for approval or?
Sean, did we already approve those?
January 30th, I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
I'm not sure either, but
May I say, they weren't approved at the last meeting. I think we closed out. I believe it was Mr. Diorio noted a minor correction towards the end of the minutes, which I'm aware of.
okay. All right, so everything's been fixed and they're ready to go, Tommy?
Yes.
Okay, well then I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of January 30th, 2024.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? We'll do a roll call. Teresa Manganelli,
Yes,
Mary Ann Galizo,
Yes.
Chris Diorio,
Yes.
Brad Jackson,
Yes.
Andy Levine, Joe Lovino,
Yes.
Scott Neville,
Yes.
David Temang,
Yes.
and myself, John Doherty, yes. Passes. Next is the meeting of minutes of February 1st, 2024. And entertain a motion.
Motion to accept the minutes from February 1st.
Scott, thank you, Scott. Is there a second?
second,
Okay. We'll do another roll call. Teresa Manganelli,
yes,
Mary Ann Galizo,
Yes.
Chris Diorio,
Yes.
Brad Jackson,
Yes.
Anthony Levine, Joe Lovino,
Yes.
Scott Neville,
Yes.
David Temang,
Yes.
myself, John Doherty, yes. Passes. Public comments. If anyone out there wants to make a public comment,
Mr. Chair, we have no members of the public except for the Wilmington applicant.
okay, great, thank you. No public comments then, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair, I have a
Yes.
follow-up question.
Sure.
For Mr. Temporary Town Manager, you were gonna come back to us with the plan on IT on how we're gonna eliminate and go from 3 systems to 1. and I'm looking forward to that follow-up. Do you have?
Okay, thank you for asking that. I have a meeting with John again tomorrow in the afternoon, and your chairman, Mr. Doherty, will also be there. We did send out an email out to all the department heads explaining to them that some of these changes were being, not changes, but updates were coming down the pike, and we're going to be working on that. And tomorrow we will plan on finalizing some of these plans and get them out there.
Perfect, thank you, appreciate your
Chris,
follow-up.
it is being worked on,
Great,
that's for sure.
Absolutely. If I may, Mr. Chair, too, and I know many of you have worked with these department heads for many years, but just again tonight with these very important departments, how squared away they are and how all of them worked so hard to get this budget in during this transition period. And I'd like to thank all of them and all the work that this board has done. And we'll see you Thursday.
Not this Thursday.
not this Thursday.
Oh, that's right. Oh, great. See you
Next one's
week.
Tuesday.
You have the night off.
Thank you. See you tomorrow, John.
Okay, see you tomorrow. Lou.
Thanks, everybody. Oh, we have to adjourn, sorry.
Yeah, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
all in favor, we'll do a roll call. Teresa Manganelli,
Yes.
Mary Ann Galazzo.
Hello?
Yes.
Chris Diorio,
Yes.
Brad Jackson. Brad Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, Anthony Levine,
Yes.
Joe Lovino,
Yes.
Scott Neville,
Yes.
David Temang,
Yes.
myself, John Doherty, yes. Have a good night, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Enjoy the
Yes,
rest of the
everyone.
day. Take care.
Have a good night, guys.